Let me tell you a story you wouldn't believe if you hadn't seen it with your own eyes. And no, I barely did. Picture this. The rain's coming down in sheets, turning the Manhattan sidewalk into a mirror for the neon lights. And I'm standing outside my restaurant, Lazenkware, a place that's been my pride, my legacy for over a decade. I'm Theodore Blackwell, yeah, that Blackwell Sultan pepper hair, suit tailored so sharp you could cut yourself on the crease, and shoes shining like I own the weather itself. But that night, even with my car waiting, I decide to walk. Sometimes, even a so-called king needs to feel the storm on his skin just to remember he's human. You know what I mean? So I round the corner to the alley behind my place, thinking I'll get some air, shake off the empty feeling success leaves when there's nobody to share it with. That's when I see Hera, a little girl, soaked to the bone, huddled against the brick, and in her arms, two babies, swaddled in what looks like ripped-up tablecloth from my own dining room. She doesn't flinch when I call out, just stares me down with these green eyes, fierce and tired at the same time, like she's lived twice as long as her 8 years. "Please don't call the police," she whispers. "They're just babies. They didn't do anything wrong." And just like that, something in my chest cracks wide open. I kneel down, suit ruined, rain soaking through to my bones. "What's your name?" I ask. She's hugging those babies like she's the last line of defense between them and the world. "Sky," she says, her voice steady. "I found them in the dumpster 2 days ago. Somebody just threw them away, but I'm not leaving them." You ever get that feeling you're standing on the edge of a cliff and you just jump without thinking? That was me, right then. "Listen, Sky," I say. "I've got an apartment upstairs. It's warm. There's food. You all can stay. Safe together." She studies my face, eyes so sharp I swear she's reading my soul. "You won't separate us?" "Never. I promise, and I mean it more than I've meant anything in years." We ride up to my penthouse 30 floors above the storm. The babies are sleeping, Sky sits between them, arms a fortress, and I feel this unfamiliar sense of responsibility settle on my shoulders. "What are their names?" I ask. Hope, because she smiled at me first, and Jack, because he's brave. The doors open, my place gleaming with marble and emptiness, and Margaret, my housekeeper, nearly drops the tea tray when she sees us. Before I can explain, my business partner Richard storms in perfect timing, right? He takes in the scene and grins like a shark. The great Theodore Blackwell, rescuing street kids? The board gonna love this. Scott doesn't flinch, just pulls the babies closer and glares at him like a lioness. I tell Margaret to get them food, ignore Richard's jabs about my emotional instability, and watch as Sky whispers to the babies, "That bad man won't separate us." I swear, the temperature in the room drops a few degrees. After Richard leaves, Margaret helps Sky feed the babies, and I watch this child 8 years old, nursing an infant like she was born for it, teaching me how to mix formula so the babies don't get sick. Over the next few days, my world turns upside down, conference calls replaced by diaper changes, business dinners swapped for midnight feedings. Margaret's humming lullabies, my pristine apartments littered with baby bottles, and for the first time in forever, the place actually feels like home. But there's something about Sky, she's too sharp, too mature, dropping comments about crooked restaurant owners and judges who take bribes, like she's been listening at doors all her life. I hire a PI, James Morrison, to dig up her past. The next morning, Richard returns with board members in tow, threatening about missed meetings and distractions. I hold my ground-me attentions exactly where it needs to be. Later, Sky tells me that Richard reminds her of someone from before, someone who hurt people she loved. She mentions a big house, a man with my eyes who made Cookie's memories shattered by some bad thing she can't quite grasp. My heart stops. My brother Marcus, he always made cookies for his daughter Sophia. Sky's green eyes, her mannerisms, it can't be. Can it? I take Sky and the babies shopping, ignoring the stares, the whispers. Sky's unfazed, picking out clothes for the babies, telling me she doesn't need fancy things. Paparazzi swarm us, snapping photos, asking about my secret family. Sky steps in front of the cameras, protecting the babies, her voice cool and steady. Back home, I see scars on her back as she's bathing the babies, and I realize how much she's endured. Later, I find Margaret crying quietly. Sky reminds her of her own child, lost long ago. That night, I dig into Morrison's first report. He finds the baby's birth mother, Isabella Santosa, teenager dying of cancer in Mount Sinai. She left the twins so they wouldn't have to watch her die. The next morning, Sky insists on coming with me to the hospital. Isabella's shocked, tears streaming when she sees her babies safe. She begs me to keep them, to give them the life she can't. I promise. Before we leave, Isabella stares at Sky and whispers, "You look just like the girl from the news, the Blackwell girl who vanished after that terrible accident." My blood runs cold. Sky stiffens. She doesn't remember, but something deep in her eyes tells me it's true. The next days are a blur. Margaret tells me she's heard Sky singing in French to the babies. Elena, my brother's wife, used to sing those lullabies to Sophia. Morrison calls Richard's digging, trying to prove I'm unfit to adopt the children. Turns out, Sky's bounced from foster home to foster home, always running, always heading toward Manhattan. Toward me. I start the formal adoption process. That night, Sky dreams of Marcus, and Elena calls me Uncle Theo in her sleep. The next morning, as we head for a DNA test, she asks, "If I'm your family, will you still want Hope and Jack too? We're a package deal." I tell her always. In the dead of night, Hope spikes a fever. Sky wakes me, diagnosing sepsis like a pro, cooling Hope down before we rush her to the ER. The doctors are stunned by Sky's medical knowledge. She shrugs it off, saying she just remembers things. Hope recovers, and I realize I've never loved anyone the way I love these kids. Richard moves fast, calls an emergency board meeting, accuses me of kidnapping Sophia for her inheritance. DNA comes back. Sky is Sophia, my brother's daughter. The amnesia was real head trauma from the crash that killed Marcus and Elena. Morrison uncovers that Richard was Marcus's emergency contact, paid PIs to keep Sophia lost, angling for her share of the company. We go to court. The judge listens as Sophia stands, her chin up, and says she wants to stay with me, with her family. Our lawyer lays out the whole ugly conspiracy: DNA, hospital records, Richard's interference. The judge sides with us, throws out Richard's petition, launches an investigation. Richard corners me after, sneering that I've destroyed everything. Sophia stands between us, green eyes blazing. Family can't be erased. Love can't be stolen. The truth always finds a way home. 6 months later, my apartment's alive with laughter and chaos. Sophia, now 9, teaching Hope to clap, Jack babbling as he chews on blocks. Margaret, my housekeeper turned grandma, beams as she brings tea. The Marcus and Elena Blackwell Foundation is launching $100 million to help other missing kids. Sophia glows with purpose, speaking at events, telling her story. Isabella passes away, but her babies will always know they were loved. On the eve of our big announcement, Sophia asks if I'm nervous. I admit I am. This isn't just about us anymore. It's about every lost kid, every family torn apart. The next day, we stand together in the Plaza Hotel's ballroom, the city watching as I tell our story about a girl who survived on love and instinct, about a family rebuilt from ruins. I tell them real success isn't measured in dollars, but in children found, families reunited. Sophia steps to the mic and tells the world, family isn't just blood, it's the people who choose to love you, protect you, never give up on you. As the crowd rises, applause thundering, I realize I've never felt wealthier. Later, on the terrace, Sophia asks if her parents would be proud. I tell her yes, because she's not just survived, she saved others, too. So, yeah, that's how a lonely millionaire became a father, a guardian, and found a purpose bigger than any business deal. That's how a streetwise kid saved us all. And you know what? Maybe family is the real empire, the only one worth building. But I gotta ask, if you were in my shoes, what would you have done? Is family a choice or destiny? Drop a comment and tell me, what would you fight for when the world tried to tear your family apart?